We've had a lot of people asking us about our camera gear and what we're using, so we thought today we would break it all down.
So we're going to give you some of the pros and cons of each piece of equipment that we use. Up first is the DJI Phantom 3 drone. This drone we had prior to us hitting the road, and I was able to do some practice before actually starting our channel. Some of the pros with having this drone is it's pretty inexpensive compared to other drones on the market. And it's a great starter drone to kind of get your bumps and lumps out of the way before going full-time like we did. Some of the disadvantages, as you can see, it's pretty bulky. I can't just throw this in a bag. I can't just throw it on the bike and go out on the trails. There's some assembly required, so it's just kind of big and there. So this is how it has to be transported. And the controller is quite large as well, and I have to attach my phone to this. So there's some steps that are involved prior to even getting this up in the air to fly. Another disadvantage is you can't just take it out and fly it. You have to actually register it through the FAA, and they'll give you a number that you have to attach to the drone, and if you don't have it, there's I guess ramifications for not having that. I haven't had any issues with it flying. Nobody's checked me, but it's good to have it anyway. I don't get to fly it as much as I like to because we stay at a lot of state parks and military bases, and those are no fly zones. So I'm starting to fly it more as we venture out of those parks. Eventually, I would like to upgrade from this drone to probably the Mavic Pro or Mavic Air. They're much more smaller and compact. The wings, the blades fold up, and you can almost fit them into a cargo pocket. And the controller with that is almost the size of your iPhone or phone in general to control the drone with. So that's our future plans for some drone action.
The best camera we own is our Canon M5. This is a mirrorless camera, so it is a lightweight camera, and it has the best picture of any of our cameras. One of the advantages to this camera is you can purchase multiple lenses. So you can purchase zoom lenses or wide angle lenses, and you can also purchase them with stability in the lens. Unfortunately, I have the lens that originally came with the camera, and it does not have stability, so it does limit my options for what I can record. Usually we use this camera on a tripod exclusively. Now this does have a view on it. As you can see, it flips down and to see, you know, what is in the camera lens. But this is the big flaw with the M5. Now, if you can see, I'm going to steal our selfie stick here. If I attempted to put this on, this would not be able to open but part way with this attached if I wanted to use it as a selfie stick. So we kind of finagled it and worked it to where we can open it with the little rigging with these little pieces we got from Lowe's. So technically we can walk around and use it as a selfie camera, but like I said, it doesn't have stabilization, so we hardly ever use it for that. We have tried, but the footage just didn't turn out well. We do want to upgrade to a lens in our future with stabilization. One of the other disadvantages for this camera is the fact that when you have the microphone, the camera, and the selfie stick, and you're walking out and about, everyone instantly turns to see who you are and what you're doing. If you're a little shy, especially like we were in the beginning, we still do have a little trouble with it. This screams to everyone, look at me, I'm recording. When we have our smaller cameras, we can do it without being noticed as much. So that is something to think about. Also, you can't just whisk this whole setup in your pocket or in my small purse. You are committed to carrying this around with you. And sometimes we just like to throw in a small camera and run to whatever activity we're doing. So like I said, the main thing we'll use it for is when we're using it on a tripod, when we're just sitting around talking to you guys like we are now. And actually the majority of this video today is recorded on this camera except for while I'm holding it. Now, as you can see, I did add a microphone to this camera. This is the Rode microphone, and it makes a huge difference in sound quality for this camera. So overall, this is an excellent choice for a YouTube channel.
Another camera we use is my iPhone X. We've had these phones for years anyway, so it was just easier to start with our camera phone. Some of the advantages to this phone is it's small, it's compact, we always have it with us anyway, and it's just easy to pull it out, point and shoot, either video or still pictures. Some of the disadvantages with this is there's no stabilization. So the videos are only as good as my steady hand or unsteady hand is taking the video. The sound in this is kind of low as well, so Stacy has to do a lot of work in editing to make the sound better. And we use this pretty much all the time in the beginning. So it's a really good phone to start with. We purchased our handheld gimbal shortly after we started the YouTube channel, and this helped us tremendously in our video shooting. Some of the advantages to this gimbal is that it works very well with stabilization. Most of the shots or video that we took in the beginning were using this bad boy here, and I can't say enough about it. It's also small enough that it'll fit into my cargo pocket or a small backpack or even Stacy's purse. So this really helped us out. Some of the disadvantages is learning the controls of the gimbal itself were a little time consuming, and sometimes this thing has a mind of its own. Stacy swears that it hates her, because every time she uses it, it just doesn't work like it's supposed to. Another disadvantage with using the gimbal is that there's an app that you have to download on your phone, and I believe there's one for Android as well as Mac or Apple. So you have to connect the app first and then connect the gimbal to the phone. So there's a few steps that can be a little bit cumbersome in the beginning. And we use this specifically for location videos and some of our how-to close-up shots.
Our next camera is the GoPro Hero 4. This camera we also had many years before we started full-timing and started the YouTube channel. So we wanted to try and incorporate it into our channel because obviously we already had it. So what we liked about this camera is it is waterproof when it's inside the case, and you can have multiple batteries for this camera, and one starts to die, you can just switch them out. And with this camera, it is an older GoPro, so of course there are many disadvantages. The number one being sound. This is probably one of the worst cameras for sound that we own. And the next one is the color on this camera is not great. It'll do the job, but it's really not great. For this one, also with the batteries, they don't last that long, so you definitely will need multiples if you want to use it. The main way we use this camera is for B-roll, so something without sound is our best bet for these cameras because that's how bad the sound is. We really like using what we already had in the beginning to get started because we didn't want to invest a lot of money, so this really helped us out in our earlier videos. We also use this camera if we're doing activities like mountain biking or swimming underwater because it is pretty rugged.
Up next is the Hero Session 5, or what we call the Cube. As you can tell, it's very small, it's compact, it'll fit in just about any bag or pocket that you have. It's fairly inexpensive, and it has a very good wide angle lens when shooting video. Some of the disadvantages is there's no external battery, so when the battery dies, you have to take it, charge it, or plug it in to get it to charge. Other than that, we use these a lot for B-roll. This one here, you can see we attach it to either the RV or the Jeep when we're out and about. These are very handy, very easy to use, and very discreet when you're out filming. So for size perspective, I'll take it out of the case. This is it in a nutshell. Very compact, very easy to use. We liked it so much that we ended up buying another one. We heard that they were going to be discontinued. We haven't seen that yet. We bought both of these on Amazon, I think months apart, so we're very happy and very pleased with the Cube. The Session 5 also has very good sound quality. Stacy doesn't really have to play with too much in the editing process to make the sound good on this.
Next up is our new favorite, and that's the Hero GoPro 7. We just purchased this camera a few months ago and we love it. The big advantages to having this camera is not only is it rugged, it's waterproof, and again, we can switch out and have multiple batteries so we can use it throughout the day. This camera also, for a GoPro camera, has great sound quality. I do have to tweak it a little bit in editing, but just a tiny bit. So of all the GoPros so far, this one does have the best sound. The disadvantages to this camera is I don't have any yet. Not yet. I'm sure it'll come once the new, better, and latest and greatest comes out. But for now, this one, it's small, it's portable. I can throw it in a purse or Phil's pocket, and we can take it out and about with us. And it's great for not only location shooting, but B-rolls, and also for close-ups if we're doing a how-to video. So far, so good with this camera. Oh, I failed to mention stability on this camera is excellent. So we love that about it. We have purchased some little features to go with this camera, and that includes our new microphone to try and help the sound out a little bit. Now we haven't actually tested it out yet, so I don't want to tell you if we love it or not, but I can tell you there is one problem with this setup, and that is the microphone. It tends to hang down in front of the lens itself. So we've kind of worked it to where let me pull this in here. We've kind of worked it to where when we plug it in, we kind of wrap it around a little bit to keep the angle up so it's not affecting our actual footage of the video. So that's the last thing you want, is that in half the video. So again, this is our new favorite. This is what you've been seeing the last few location videos using this camera exclusively.
The last camera we want to talk about is the GoPro Fusion. This camera has great stability. It has 360-degree camera views. So basically there's a camera on the front, camera on the back. So you put it down and it gets a great 360-degree video. And it's waterproof in this housing, just like it is. The disadvantage is you have to use a separate GoPro software and then stitch together the front video and the back video together to get it out of the 360-degree shape, if you will, to flatten it out. Another disadvantage is this one requires 2 SD cards to capture footage from each camera. This camera we've only used practicing and playing with it, and we really decided that because of the extra steps, the extra software, the stitching of the video together and editing was just something that we didn't want to take on board with what we're already doing. I should say what Stacy's doing. She does all the editing. So if anybody is interested in a slightly used, I think 3 or 4 time GoPro Fusion, hit us up in the comments or send us a private message and we'll talk Fusion.
Now that you know which cameras we're using, we were going to show you a couple of the other accessories that we've purchased to go with the cameras. Alright, so this is the first one I wanted to show you, and we use this as a window mount. When you're choosing your window mounts, make sure all of it is very sturdy. You don't want any flexibility in your window mounts, because as the car's moving down the road, it'll bounce, and you'll have bounce on the camera, so you'll see it in the footage. We made that mistake early on, and that one got ditched.
Yeah, we ditched it early.
Yeah, so make sure you can tighten every piece, and there's no movement after you tighten it.
So then we have a couple different tripods. We got a mini one and a medium-sized one. This one works well for the smaller cameras and setting it out and getting a little B-roll. You can hold it. It's a great handle, if you will. So we really like this one.
Yeah.
This one, not so much.
Yeah.
You put any kind of weight on top of this, and we tried to use Stacy's Canon on this, and these crazy legs can't hold the weight, and they fall. It's always tilting. It's always leaning. We thought we were going to like this in the beginning, and I don't even know why we still have it. So this one here actually
needs to go.
It's not even going in the rig. That one's gone. I don't even know why.
And there are a ton of these kind of monopods or tripods that you can pick up.
Selfie sticks.
Yeah, this one extends out, and we use them just for different applications when we're doing how-tos and that kind of thing when we're zooming in. So you can pick which one you like the best. So for those of you thinking about starting your own YouTube channel or just documenting your travels for yourself and your family, remember, start with what you have, because there's a lot more to it than just holding up a camera. And as a matter of fact, we're going to talk about that in the coming weeks when I do another video on editing. So practice with what you have before you make a huge investment.
Yeah, you could break the bank in buying camera gear.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, we had quite a few of these pieces before we started, and the pieces that we did buy and integrate into our usage didn't really cost that much in the long run.
Yeah, and we really so far have liked all except for the Fusion. We have used and really enjoyed all of our cameras, and the Fusion is great, but for those of you who don't know, I actually have 2 YouTube channels that I'm trying to work on, and there's a lot of editing and time involved with that, and I really, like you said, didn't want to add one more step. Yeah. It was just too much.
If you're interested in our camera gear, what it costs, click the link in the description below. It'll take you to our Amazon storefront where you can find more information.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Be sure and hit that subscribe button.
And remember, don't break the bank buying gear. Start with what you have and practice.
That's right. And if you have editing questions, hang out with us, hit that subscribe button. That will be up in just a couple weeks. And we'll see you on the road.
Hit that subscribe button. You were supposed to say that.
I already did.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
did you?
I did. Long time ago.
All right, so we'll just do that. All right, so up first is...
Wait, sorry, I'm on my foot.
Up first is the DJI. DJI. So this was What am I trying to say? Does that make sense? Up first is a DJI Phantom 3 drone.
You gotta lighten up.
I'm never gonna get through this. The controller.
What? You already saying it. What's the matter?
I thought you were already walking away. I didn't know.
I just lowered it. Dang it. Calm down. The look on your face was like I just shot your dog.
I thought you turned it off. Another camera set, or 5, or what we common.
So, wait. Nope.
Click on that and it'll take it. Click below. Click the link below. Into the. Hold on.
Woohoo, he finally did it.
Take 10. Jeez.
That was so
I
dumb.
know. Ooh, good stuff.
Yeah.